Hello, I'm Ricky.
And I'm Joe, and this is Season 4, Episode 14 of the Beer and Broadband Podcast. Should come out on October 18th, 2021. And since it's the end of summer, well, it doesn't feel like it today. It feels like it's just straight on right in the middle of summer, in the middle of October. And I just hit my mic, so sorry about that, everybody. But it's the Soulless Summer is what we're going to be talking about. And this is a ginger mead made after the ginger beer recipe that, I've made before and we've talked about on this podcast. But this is the new version of it, and it's the one that we bottled in July, August, but it started in March of 2021. Had a whole bunch of bottles of this. Unfortunately, I don't know if this is the 14% ABV or the 10% ABV version, but I'm pretty sure it's the 14%
Yeah,
ABV
I think
version.
it is.
So I'm going to go ahead and let you start talking about it, and then...
Yeah, it's not bad. Certainly a sweet one. Not a lot of tannin in it, but it does have a lot of heat, which I like. When I first sipped it, I was like, "This is almost like a capsumel. Like it's got that kind of real like heat to it that lingers."
Mm-hmm. So this is actually the 10%.
Okay.
Because it's the one that I put back sweetened a little bit with some orange blossom honey.
Oh,
so
okay.
that I could tell the difference
Gotcha.
between. The other one, the 14%, is much drier.
Gotcha.
And has a little bit more like tannic kind of qualities.
Okay,
to
yeah.
It. They both don't have a lot of like legs and oils and everything in it, but this is actually the 10%. Just after tasting it and knowing the difference between the two.
Gotcha.
My wife and daughter, super helpful, very sweet in bottling these while I was going on a work trip.
Okay.
And I ended up hurting myself on that work trip, as we've talked about before. And then when I returned, I wasn't going to be able to do what I thought I was going to be doing, which was going to be labeling all these with the labels that we normally put on them, because my wife helps me put these really nice looking, awesome labels on these things. Anyways, they didn't know which one was which, so they didn't put the numbers on the right ones. But so the recipe is basically like 2 ginger roots for like a gallon batch. I mean, basically, I ended up making 3 gallons out of this by accident. And the one of the gallons ended up having more sugar in it for some reason than the other one did, and I'm not really 100% sure why that happened. But it's basically 2 ginger root per 3-ish gallons. Yeah. If you want it to be more gingery, you add like 4 ginger roots or 3 ginger roots or something like that. I was trying to make it a little bit less, but a cup of lemon juice, 1/4 of a cup of lime juice, 1/2 cup of mandarin orange juice, and then a gallon of water and some sweet squeeze orange blossom honey. Then I zested some lemons and limes and some mandarin oranges, put some cream of tartar sauce and a cup of raisins, and then boiled all that, and then put that down inside of my my brew in a bag. Yeah, and it ended up being really good. It did all the things that it was supposed to as far as like fermenting. I was kind of worried that it might be too acidic for it to ferment properly, and I believe that was Lalvin 71B yeast. So it really just ate through it really well. So if anybody's thinking about making this, they should totally make this.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's fantastic. But the other one had less sugar to begin with. It was like 1.075 versus 1.1 of the 14%.
Oh, yeah.
And so somehow I didn't get the distribution of sugar right between the two. But the sweet squeeze honey that I used to back sweeten it, like really brought up like the sweetness.
Yeah, it does.
Of it,
yeah.
And it wasn't much. I just added like a 1/2 pound of, or no, it was a 1/4 pound of honey to a gallon, and it just really like sweetened it up really nicely. So let's talk about the Bochet I made. And you haven't had a chance to try it.
I haven't had a chance to try it.
And it's still bottle aging. But for anybody that doesn't really know what a Bochet is, basically you take honey, you caramelize it. You were there through that process. We put it in a pot on the stove, let that boil for about 30 minutes. you don't want it to, well, it boiled, but it's more like caramelization. You don't want it to go too hot, but you don't want it to be too cool either. There's like a just right. So it was like medium high, low, medium high, something like that. Heat, we put it on and we watched it for about 30 minutes. And then, had a paper plate, and I was just kind of like making sure that the honey didn't get like too dark. And then we put it in, it was orange blossom honey. We put it in a brew and 1 gallon of it, and it tastes like buttery whiskey with some orange zest in it. It's just amazing. It doesn't need any back sweetening. It was just perfect the way it is. I am going to make a 5-gallon batch of this.
Okay.
Yeah, like it ended up being good. So you haven't had a chance to try it, but you did have a chance to like kind of go through the experience of like, how difficult would you say that is?
It's not really that difficult. I mean, the hardest part of it is just, heating the honey, which is not that hard. You just got to try and keep it in like a target range. So if you, depending on, I guess, what type of stove you have, it might be easier or harder. But in all honesty, it's still nowhere near as hard as making a beer.
That's true. It's not as hard as making a beer. I feel like we didn't go to the depths of flavor that it could because we were being a little conservative with the honey. I feel like if we make it again, that we could like really take it to
we probably could have gone a little bit darker with the honey.
Yeah, some really so. I want to do it again. I want to kind of do it the way that we did it before. Just get another 12 gallons of honey, throw it in 5-gallon batch. See what it ends up being at about. After we do the whole 12 gallons in the Bochet. But yeah, I mean, the orange blossom honey that I've used for a lot of my brews over the last year really lends itself well to a Bochet. I was worried that it wouldn't.
Yeah, and I think a Bochet would be a great thing to start doing honey experiments with. Because when we were kind of doing the Bochet together, we didn't really understand a lot of the science behind what's happening. We just, people do it. We had a recipe. I spent hours when I got home, researching exactly what's going on when you do that. And a lot of honeys, maybe not the ultra filtered ones, but a lot of honeys have amino acids in it. So not only are you getting that caramelization from the sugar, you're also getting Maillard reaction from the heat. Okay. Same stuff that makes meats taste so good.
Yep.
There's all sorts of pollens in there that can toast and have their own chemical reactions. So there's a lot of stuff going on there that makes me wonder. I mean, almost like how you can make whiskeys and ryes out of different grains and malts. I wonder if you can make Bochets out of different honeys and bring out a lot of different flavors in them. Because those honeys have different ratios of pollen and other things.
So now that's going to make me make some more small batches. I wanted to make some big batches. But
if you got one you like, you can make a big batch of that. But I mean, you've got that buckwheat honey, or we get more of that buckwheat honey. What does that taste like? Yeah. Because I think I could be wrong, but I've done some research on different honeys. I was pretty sure buckwheat honey is fairly high in pollen.
It
so
is.
That will have its own little flavors once it gets heated up.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about some. I don't want to cut that off. I'm just trying to stay on schedule. But the buckwheat honey idea is fascinating. I haven't tried it. I'm doing a coffee mill with some buckwheat honey.
Yep.
And so gonna see how that ends up turning out. I think it's gonna be fantastic. Between that and the pumpkin mead. I don't know whether they call it pumpkin pie, spice pie, whatever. It's doing the 2021 pumpkin mead, but doing a lot more because I really liked the other pumpkin mead, but there were some things I wanted to adjust on it. For instance, it's a pain in the butt to roast and pull out all the stuff from a pumpkin. What if pumpkin puree could do the same thing, sort of deal? So we're going to do that. Looks like that one's going to be pretty alcoholic. We're around 16% ABV for that one. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Might end up having to, after we take the solids out, add some more liquid to get it up and lower the ABV a little bit. But we'll see. that's for the future, not for now. So let's talk about Sony personal CD players, or just in general personal CD players. And then we have two Sonys that I've let you listen to. I've been listening to for a couple of weeks. So the story of this is I'm a bit of a audio nerd when it comes to like listening to music and things like that. And there's some things that I didn't get when I was a kid. Like I didn't get some of these personal CD players, and these were all like the things that when I was a young man, a kid, came out. And now they're more expensive on eBay than they should be, but you can get them for $20-$30 per CD player.
Yeah.
I got a couple duds in that. Like some people sent me some that were bad, gave me refunds, and then I ended up getting like some good ones. That one, the purple one over there, was like $60.
Okay.
The silver one was like $20.
Gotcha.
So the purple one is the DEJ825, and the silver one is the DCJ01. And that DEJ825 is like a legendary kind of personal CD player.
It's pretty good when I was listening to it. It's very similar. I think I had a cheaper version of that when I was growing up. I could just they sold them at like Walmart for like $30, maybe like $45, somewhere around in there. And that was like my CD player. And when one would break, I'd go and buy another like the same model. But no, that purple one, I can see it right here.
DEJ825.
Yeah, the 825, pretty good. Not gonna lie, I liked it.
Yeah. Well, I got two of them. I liked it so much. I got a second one. So I got the first one. It didn't have like the remote and stuff, and then that one had the remote with it.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I was just like,
because I was gonna say mine had like that same little weird port for the little remote, but I never had a remote. I don't know if they sold them separately or.
So a lot of the ones that had the same remote port, they didn't come with remotes, and you could get separate Sony Walkman remotes, but they oftentimes wouldn't use the correct like.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like functions. So you had to get specific ones to get the right ones. But they like a lot of the ones because I've got another one that has the remote port, but the port's blacked off, and you can't use a remote with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yours could have been the one that had the port, but it was not actually
a
usable.
non-functional port. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I never knew those little remote things existed. They're kind of nifty.
Yeah. That's how you just have a screen for that DEJ825. It the thing that sucks about it is you can't see what's playing or anything like that without it. It doesn't play like MP3 CDs or get any like CD, like enhanced CD information or anything like that. So the other one, the DCJ01, it does get that. So it'll play MP3s. It'll play stuff like that. The biggest difference between the two, because their feature set is kind of the same, except the DCJ, the silver one, it doesn't have an optical line out. It has only a copper line out. But it's a balanced line out, and so you can send that to something and it won't try to run its own amp over it. Right? The purple one has that balanced optical line out thing. I might be wrong about it being balanced, but it's a line out all the same. And it ends up being really interesting when you like hook it up to like say a Ship Modi or something like that, a Magni stack, that kind of like small amp stack, and then you put this in the mix. It's really kind of nice, like to do that. And then I paired it with that Sennheiser Bluetooth amp. This plus the BTR3K or the Bluetooth file receiver, and it's really a nice way to listen to some music. So I don't know. I have a hard time just like even deciding which one I want to listen to over the other, because they got like some really nice feature sets. They sound good. They both have a remote that you can use with them, like all that other stuff.
Yeah, especially the 825 was really good sound quality.
Oh yeah, excellent sound quality on the 825. I think the DCJ01 is a little like warmer, I guess, where the 825 is much more accurate. Is that a way to?
No, I get. Yeah. The I'm terrible with the names. The silver one, not the 825. It does do the mids really well. It struggles a little bit at the top and the bottom.
Right.
And it had a little bit of mid-level feedback, but it really wasn't bad. I mean, especially if you think about the time that these were coming out. You could tell that these were both pretty top quality for because what are these? Came out in the late 90s?
The DCJ01, I think, was in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And the 825, I believe, was early 2000s, late 90s.
Okay, yeah. Somewhere in that general range. So, yeah. I mean, that's the upper end of kind of before dedicated MP3 players that were all digital and stuff started coming out and all those things.
I could be wrong about that. I actually think, now that I'm thinking about it, the DCJ01 was around or right before the iPod came out. So that'd be around 2008.
Yeah.
And then I think the other one is early 2000s.
Okay.
825. I'm going to look that up right now. 01 release date. All right. So, well, that wasn't helpful. I may have to look that up and put that in the show notes, but I'm pretty sure that when I look these up, it came out, around that time period. Because that one's an 8-track CD player, and you didn't get those, before MP3 players were a big thing, so it had to be mid 2000s,
Okay. Yeah.
Around in there. Because 8-track is the thing that mini discs use to be able to get their high audio quality, this a thing that you have instead as a competitor to MP3 or AAC files.
Yeah, I remember those.
So unless you got something else to say about that, I think that's it. I think it's the end of our episode.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah, if you're interested in picking one of these up, you have to just kind of find them on eBay, and just to let you know, that DEJ825 is kind of expensive for it being a 20, 25-year-old CD player. It's less than you'd pay for some other high quality, legendary CD players. But, I'm in the bug right now for CD players, so we're probably going to talk about those a little bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, anyways, this has been Season 4, Episode 14 of the Beer and Broadband Podcast. We have a Patreon and a Twitter. We'd love for you to engage with us there. I kind of go back and forth on having the Patreon out there, but it still exists. We like to get feedback from our patrons. Is the more the thing than anything else. The money side of it doesn't really matter, but if you want to support the show, help us get some more equipment, help us have better recording equipment, or get something to experiment with, we'd love to have that input and that thought, and you kind of vote in some way. Other than that, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.